November 11th, 2014. Halo fans everywhere were ecstatic for the release of Halo the Master Chief Collection. Microsoft and 343 threw a party in Hollywood. The mood was great, until later in the night when the mood soured. This is the story of the MCC release party in Hollywood.
Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen? Filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights.
I've been creating Halo content for 15 years. My first ever content was Easter eggs and glitches on Halo 2. I used to upload to a site called mythica.org for video hosting and post it on High Impact Halo. So you can imagine, in 15 years, I've seen a lot. One of the coolest benefits of being a content creator, influencer, is being flown places. Believe me, I do not take this for granted. I have a smile on my face the entire time. In this case, 343 Microsoft flew me to Hollywood for the release of Halo the Master Chief Collection. Now, it should be noted that at this time, I had already had the Master Chief Collection. They sent me an early copy way earlier than usual. Usually early copies of games are like, a week out, if that. This time it was like a month before release. So I had plenty of time to check the game out, plenty of time to create content. We were the first to find all the dolls in the game. If you remember my doll guide, we are officially the first to ever do that, which is pretty cool. I found probably a good chunk of those, but I also had a ton of help from the Ready Up Live crew at the time. We got a bunch of codes. We were all just looking everywhere. Because I knew Halo inside and out, I just knew where to look. I had good hunches about almost all of these. There was a few really tough ones in there, but we found them. I remember Rebel found a really tough one. One of the maps. It was like the last one we were trying to find, but I was surprised with how well I found them. And again, I attribute that to my glitching and Easter egg times back on High Impact Halo. I just, I would grenade jump out of every map. I would look every possible nook and cranny that they could hide these things. Sometimes I really overthought it, and I still have a clip somewhere that I never posted anywhere of just like this insane brute shot fusion coil jump I did to get somewhere where I'm not sure I've even seen anybody go before with traditional trick jumping. I gotta find that video because I remember I'm like, holy crap, I tried for so long. I'm like, it's gotta be up here. It's gonna be this impossible. Like I way overthought where these dolls would be, but we were the first to find them, so I got to crank out all this content. So I wasn't upset that I would be at this party. Normally we'd be like, oh man, like while these parties are so cool, launch parties are awesome, on the other hand, you're like, man, I want to be home creating content, playing the game, but because I've already had my hands on with it, that wasn't a worry for me, so that was a big plus. I love a good launch party. I love a good party, but what really made this one stand out was I got word that the Halo 5 beta would be playable at this party. No one had played it yet. It was not out. So I sent some emails around and I said, look guys, I'm one of the top Halo content creators right now. Can I record footage of the Halo 5 beta and post it on my YouTube channel? It took a little bit, but everyone was on board and I got yes across the board. So that's what I was all about. I'm like, yes, I'm going to go to this event, capture a ton of Halo 5 footage. Now this was kind of the last bastion of capturing footage with your own gear. I remember this being one of the final events where, if not the final event where I ever had to do that, because since then, every company ever now have like capture stations at events. Normally you had to bring your laptop and bring your own gear, but so that's what I had to do. So I brought my laptop, I brought my Elgato, and I was ready. It was a short trip. I arrived the night of the party, or the afternoon of the party, got to my hotel room, which was right beside the party. I was like just around the corner. I was right there. I even thought it was further away, but no, it was right there. I had this cool little loft window. I remember checking that out, took a photo of it. And then I'm like, I want to be prime. I'm tired. Flying takes it out of you. Anyone who flies a lot knows this. It's like, you just want to sleep. You want to have a shower and sleep. And I did just that. Since I had a couple hours to have a nap, I think I had a quick shower, went to sleep with my hair still kind of wet. I woke up, but not to an alarm. The party had already started. I was missing the start of the party. It was only like half an hour in or something, so the doors essentially just opened, but I was like, oh no. I was just this panic attack, realizing when I woke up without an alarm, like, what if I missed the whole party? Like, that would have been so frustrating. Luckily, again, not a big deal. But since the party already started, I wanted to just book it there. So I look in the mirror, my hair is a mess, right? Anyone who especially does like product in their hair and stuff and has hair like mine, like I have very thin, straight hair. It's a problem, right? I have like a period of time after showering that I can even do anything with it. It doesn't cooperate. So it was just a mess. I remember somebody commenting that night that I looked like Michael Cera because of the current hairdo. It was just, I did what I could with it, but it wasn't a focus of mine. I wasn't there to impress anyone. I wasn't even there to meet anyone. I was there to capture Halo 5 beta footage. So I put on some clothes, hopped out the door. I was ready. Go around the corner and you could see it. The Avalon Theater in Hollywood. It was bumping. People looking around going, what is going on there? This is a whole thing. It is a Hollywood party. It wasn't super filled when I first walked in. I remember being really not many people at all at the beginning of it. At the back were some bars. At the sides, play stations. Not playstations, but play stations. One had Halo 5, which I don't think they started right away. And then the other side had MCC. As I walked in, there was this cool laser etching station where you could give them your phone and they would laser etch the Master Chief helmet MCC logo into it. I think they only had specific sizes for like iPhones or something like that. I'll remember us being like, oh, I didn't have a case. That's right. It was for cases. Like you etch it into your case, I think. And I didn't have a case on my phone at the time. I believe I had like my yellow Windows Phone 1020, which took amazing photos, by the way. Good times for that. You can see some of these photos just hold up because of that phone. We also got these cool branded candies. We got the choice of 2 chocolate bars. There was a dark chocolate one. I don't remember what that one was called. Not a fan of dark chocolate. Sorry, dark chocolate fans. It's just too rich for me. I'm a milk chocolate guy. I love my white chocolate as well. But the one I got was a master chocolate with blood red caramel, Rice Krispies in it. Oh, God, marshmallow. It was delicious. And you can even see some of the blood red caramel on my thumb in that photo. Oh, it was so good. We also got these little hard candies with Halo logos on them. I love little touches like that. You could tell they put some care into this event. It's a big deal. It was a Hollywood party with celebrities. And I'll get to that in a second. I went to the side station where MCC was playing. Wasn't really interested in playing too much MCC, so I was just kind of messing around on maps, I think. And it was like set for multiplayer, but no one was there. It was just like me and who sits beside me but Jeff Winger, Joel McHale himself, sits beside me and picks up a controller. I look over like, wow, that's Jeff Winger. Now, I don't really get starstruck. This is something I got rid of at a pretty young age. My hero of all time at the time was Major Nelson, and I met him when I was 14. My dad had to kind of like prod the introduction. Still a good friend to this day, but he was my hero at the time. And since then, I've been pretty good about meeting people who I have a lot of respect for. And I can't tell you in these 15 years how many stories I have of random celebrity encounters, whether I'm sitting beside Trevor from GTA on a plane, or I'm at a party with Eric Andre, or playing Halo 5 with Soulja Boy. Like, I have some wild stories. I even kind of met Steven Spielberg. That was the only other time that I was like, sweet Jesus, that is Steven Spielberg. Anywho. So I make small talk with him. I'm kind of like, I wish I could recall what I said. And, just the most generic, like, hey, what are you drinking? He's like, oh, I don't know, some beer. I'm like, cool. Hey, you like Halo? All right. He's like, yeah. He did not want to be there. He was not impressed. He, some nerdy kid beside him talking to him about video games, like that was the last thing he wanted. But I do recall it quite fondly. And eventually he walked off, and I continued sitting there like, wow, that was Jeff Winger. He was in character. It was time for the big announcements. We got called to the front. All the metal chairs were set up. I was sitting beside people like Miquin, I recall pretty clearly. A bunch of other Halo guys were there as well. I remember Kevin Franklin, who was formerly the designer on Breakout, which I miss so much. The original Breakout was just a treat. Myself and Unishack and people would just grind that so hard. If you remember all that footage I used to have, like we had these most amazing Breakout games. Good times, but he's great to talk to. I love Kevin. He's a great dude. Same with Miquin. That was actually where I first met Miquin in person. Remain good friends to this day. Really cool dude. He was very, very level-headed, has some great opinions. If you've ever seen him speak about Halo, like he's very grounded in his opinions. So it was very cool. Very good chat. The place starts filling up, seats start filling up, and they get on stage. You got the likes of Bonnie Ross, Frank O'Connor, Kiki Wolfkill, talking about Halo. Thank you all for coming. Halo Master Chief Collection released today. Yay, whoops and hollers, we did it, claps. The cast of Halo Nightfall came on stage, all looking gorgeous, just beautiful people. talking about Halo Nightfall. And if I recall, I believe we got to watch the first episode of Halo Nightfall as well, which was pretty cool at the time, regardless of your opinion of that series. Go play games. Halo 5 available over there. Halo 5 beta, this was my moment. I go over to the Halo 5 station, plug in my laptop, plug in my Elgato, and we start rolling. Now, at the time, no one in the world had Halo 5 beta footage. I was the only one, so I knew every second counted. Unfortunately, the whole venue was not aware that I had permission to do this. Security guard after staff member after security guard came by and gave me crap.
What are you doing?
Some of them I could wave off, like, hey, I promise I'm allowed to do this. Microsoft gave me permission. I can show you the emails and stuff. I can name the names. Some of them were okay with that. One of them was not. He stomps over, says,
What are you doing? Stop this right now. Stop recording. Unplug your stuff. I want to see you delete everything on that hard drive.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here trying to make my gameplay look good to show the world. And I'm like, I promise I'm allowed to do this. Believe me, I can do this. There's even a period, and I'm not sure if it went live. So I'm going to have to review the footage. Maybe I'll put it on screen right now if I can find it. Where I just stopped moving. On this Halo 5 beta footage, I'm just standing there, like, not moving. It's because I don't know what to do. I'm trying to awkwardly, like, not play because this dude's yelling at me, being like, you can't do this. Meanwhile, I'm looking around trying to flag down anyone there who knows I'm allowed to do this. There's a couple of them. A couple of PR guys definitely know I'm allowed to. Nowhere to be seen. It felt like so long just standing there like, please, someone save me. I'm not going to comply because I know I'm allowed to do this. Anyone come save me. Luckily, someone did eventually. He was like, he's cool. And then, obviously, the security guy was like,
Oh, yeah, no worries, man. Cool. We just had to be safe.
I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thanks, dude. Got my footage. That footage ended up being, again, very exclusive, very powerful stuff. I released it in like 15-minute chunks and then hour-long chunks with and without commentary. I admittedly doubled down on that kind of stuff because people just wanted it. That got clicks at the time, man. Like, no one had that. I used it as well as I could. I even put watermarks all over that stuff because I knew I was the only one who had it. And it was funny because it was right at the end of the watermark debate, which I was very much a part of. I didn't want to be, but I was there because there was this time where content was just being stolen without credit by various communities. So more and more watermarking was showing up. People were even stealing my content with watermarks on it. They would even crop, like the same kind of communities would just crop it. So it was just like, it was like a cinematic version without my logo there. Just proving further that I had to watermark that content. I wish it wasn't so. Anyone who creates things on the internet knows that sometimes you really just have to watermark it because people out there suck. They suck sometimes. This gave me my biggest months ever in the history of my YouTube. I still haven't topped those months of Halo 5 where I had this amazing footage that no one else had. Just incredible times. I took that footage. I was editing it all over the place. I was in my hotel just cranking on it. I knew I had to get this out. My laptop could only capture 720p, which is fortunate that the Halo 5 beta was only 720p. So that just worked out just perfectly for me. And because no one else had this footage, all the news publications were picking it up. Like Halo 5 beta footage everywhere. Everyone was picking up this footage. It was awesome. I got so many hits, millions and millions and millions of hits of these videos. So while I'm recording this stuff, I'm missing some exciting things happening around me. Apparently Nathan Fillion was walking around. I'm sure he brushed by me a couple times. All my friends were getting photos with him. They're like, hey, did you get a photo with Nathan Fillion? I'm like, Nathan Fillion was just casually hanging around. Everyone got to meet him. Missed that. Halo 5, in my defense, capturing that dank footage, very important. Squeezing every last second I could out of it. But as the party went on, the mood started souring. 343 employees started gathering in circles with their phones out, showing things to each other. Turns out, MCC was on fire. MCC was broken. It was having a time, as you recall. So despite having MCC myself for a month earlier, that's why all these early reviews rated it quite highly, because no one knew these problems happened. If you know anything about game dev, that's what happens, right? Once you release these products to the wider audience, that's when things start breaking. It seems to be that way. We mostly only had single player, right? Because there's only so many people playing the game. You couldn't just hit matchmaking and hope to find a game. Occasionally, I'd be able to organize a little custom game. Microsoft organized some custom games with press and stuff, which I obviously slapped at. They had to be like, take it easy on these guys. They're practicing, they are getting footage and stuff. Like, I'm not going to take it easy on these guys. I'm not, what? No. That's the best. Slapping press around is hilarious in Halo. I gave them a great time. So I was in a bunch of footage back then, but it worked fine, right? These scheduled play sessions, custom games and stuff, and things were just fine. Once it released to the world, obviously people found out that games weren't saving, progress wasn't saving, you'd get crashes. It was a nightmare. I could have told you this leading up to it, because I helped with MCC on multiple occasions, working like with/for Xbox in Germany, in Toronto, in various places. I was helping be responsible for resetting the builds. You go around after every match, you had to reset the build to even start again. And so it's funny that like that term became popular in the mainstream as well. You know, quit the build, restart the build. That was something that you had to do to even play, and the staff had to do it every time. And again, I helped with that. I helped showcases at various events. So we knew, it was clear there were some problems there. But again, it worked pretty well for the early release for press. And then, just this nightmare. So you have all these employees that were formerly having a great time now being like, yikes, this is a problem. You have this huge pile of important 343 staff getting drunk in Hollywood, not at home. Not in Seattle, not where they should be to potentially mitigate these problems. So the tone was very sour by the end of the night. Not me. I had this just biggest grin on my face, knowing I had captured some of the only Halo 5 footage, the only Halo 5 beta footage out there. Real psyched to get that out, knowing no one would even have a chance for like a set amount of time after that, right? So I had to get this out as early as possible. And I got my fill. I was having my own fun, but we all know what happened to MCC, and it wasn't fixed until like very recently. It took 6 years to fix MCC. But that night was a very special one. One of the most unique launch parties I've ever been to, from celebration to a morning almost that lasted for the next 6 years. But I met Jeff Winger. If you enjoyed my retelling of the story, guys, again, I've been around a long time. I have a lot of stories to tell. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that like, and let me know in the comments if you want to hear more stuff like this. This is a relatively unique video for me, and I've realized I haven't been creating enough content lately, and this is the stuff that I think is, again, very unique, very personal, and something that you won't really hear anywhere else. I have a lot of stories from the community, of recon times, of the search for the GRD helmet, just a lot of stuff, right? Like essentially some of the history of the Halo community. Your boy's been there. I've seen things. Thank you for watching. Appreciate ya. Greenskull out. I ended up recording hours of footage, and at the time, no one in the world had Halo 5